The wind screamed across the frozen planet, cold and wild like a beast hunting its prey. The snow didn't fall. Gently it came crashing sideways, covering everything in white. In this deadly blizzard, no one should be outside. No one should survive. But Leo heard it. A sound, not the wind, not the usual creaks of his old cabin. A cry weak and distant, but real. He paused, setting down the old metal mug filled with steaming synth tea. His cabin stood alone in the wild zone of Colony 12, far from cities or spaceports. There were no neighbors, no visitors, no reason for anyone to be out there. Another cry came, faint, fading a voice. He grabbed his coat and stormed lantern without. Thinking. Years ago, Leo had been a medic in the human deep-range corps. He had seen too many people die because no one came when they screamed. He wouldn't let it happen again. The door slammed shut behind him. Snow slapped his face like knives. The lantern's light barely cut through the blizzard. But he followed the sound footprints forming instantly behind each step. Then, saw her. A shape in the snow curled like a child, shivering, barely alive. His heart skipped. She wasn't human. Purple skin. Thin arms, frost covering her hairless scalp. A ripped thermal wrap hung from her shoulders, almost useless. She looked young, maybe barely an adult by alien standards. Her fingers were blue at the tips. Her lips trembled, unable to form words. Leo dropped to his knees beside her. "Hey, can you hear me?" he said. Her eyes blinked slowly, pale violet eyes, dull and tired. She moved her lips, struggling to speak. Then the words came. "Please, take me in. I will be yours. Forever." She collapsed. Leo caught her just before her head hit the snow again. He didn't wait. She was too cold. Barely breathing and light, so light he could lift her like nothing. He rushed back through the storm, carrying the alien girl in his arms. The snow tried to stop him, pushing against every step. But he moved faster. Inside the cabin, he slammed the door shut and laid her on the heated cot. He stripped off the wet remains of her clothing with medical care, no shame, just urgency. She had burns from the cold, her skin swollen and turning. It's dark in places. He wrapped her in thermal blankets and activated the med foam. The machine hummed as it sprayed healing mist over her wounds. Her eyes fluttered, but she didn't wake. Leo sat beside her, his chest rising and falling fast. Who was she? Where did she come from? Why was she out in a death storm? And what did she mean by, "I'll be yours forever"? He leaned forward and brushed away a bit of ice from her cheek. Her skin was rough in places, like scales alien, but fragile. She looked more like a refugee than a soldier. No weapons, no supplies, just a small pouch tied to her belt, now frozen stiff. He opened it. Inside, a small photo, clearly alien tech, but still readable. It showed the same girl standing. Next to a tall alien male in rich robes, a symbol was burned in the corner. A noble crest. Leo's eyes narrowed. He had seen symbols like that before. During peacekeeping missions, high-caste alien houses that ruled their people with cruel control. Why would someone from such a house end up abandoned like this? Suddenly, she groaned. Her body shook under the blanket. Her eyes opened again, this time with fear. "No, don't send me back," she said, voice hoarse. "They'll kill me." "I'm not sending you anywhere," Leo said gently. "You're safe now." But she kept whispering, trembling harder. "They threw me out, called me useless, said I was no longer needed." Leo didn't ask what she meant, not yet. Needed warmth, rest, food. Answers could come later. He heated nutrient broth and helped her drink. She coughed, but swallowed it. After a few sips, her breathing slowed. Her hands stopped shaking. She looked at him. "Why?" she asked. "Why save me?" Leo shrugged. "Because no one else did." Tears slid down her cheeks, silent and hot. Against frozen skin, she whispered again, barely a breath. "Then I am yours." Leo stared at her, unsure what to say. He wasn't looking for anyone. But now she was here, freezing, hunted, and alone. And someone, somewhere, clearly wanted her gone. The fire crackled softly in the corner of the cabin, but the warmth didn't reach her eyes. She sat wrapped in thick blankets, her body still weak, her skin still healing from the frostbite. Yet what truly chilled her wasn't the storm outside. It was the fear inside her. She watched Leo move quietly around the cabin, placing tools back into a drawer. His movements were calm, human, steady. He hadn't asked many questions, but he had done everything to keep her alive. She didn't understand it. No one had ever touched her without pain. No one had ever given her something without taking something back. She stared at her hands, purple, skin cracked, palms rough from crawling in snow. Her fingers twitched as if remembering chains. Leo glanced at her. "You're healing faster than I thought," he said gently. "That's good. You need rest." Her lips trembled. "No rest for me," she whispered, almost to herself. Leo sat on the chair across from her. "What's your name?" There was silence for a moment. Then she said, "Kylira." He nodded. "I'm Leo." Another pause. Then she asked, her voice barely holding, "Why did you bring me inside?" "You were dying," he replied. Her eyes locked on his. "I was meant to die." Leo frowned. "What do you mean?" Kalia looked toward the window, where white snow still covered the frozen world. Her breath came out shaky. "They took me outside, far from the colony walls. Told me to walk, until I couldn't anymore." "They?" Leo asked. She nodded slowly. "My people, my own family. My house." He leaned forward. "Why would they do that?" Kylira's face tightened with shame. Her next words were soft, like she had never said them out loud before. "Because I'm broken." Leo blinked. "Broken how?" She swallowed. "I can't produce life. My body failed their genetic tests. I cannot give birth. For my kind, that means I'm useless. Trash." Leo's hands curled into fists without meaning to. "So they left you to die in the snow? Just because of that?" Kylira didn't answer. She didn't need to. Her silence was enough. She continued. Voice shaking, "They didn't even look back, just turned away. One of the guards said I should be grateful they didn't kill me first." Leo stood up and paced toward the window. His breath fogged the glass. He'd seen cruelty during the war. But this felt personal. Kylira lowered her head. "When I saw your light, I thought I was dreaming. When you touched me, I thought it was death. I didn't think you were real." Leo turned toward her. "Well, I am real. And you're not dying here." Her lips moved, almost forming a smile, but it didn't last. She pulled the blanket tighter around her. "You don't understand? If they find me, they'll kill me anyway. No one is allowed to survive exile." Leo raised an eyebrow. "Then I'll make sure they don't find you." Kylira looked up. "You can't fight them. They're powerful. They control everything." "I've fought powerful before," Leo said. "You're not going back out there." She stared at him, searching for a lie in his face, but found none. Her fingers trembled less now. Leo brought her more food, simple broth with soft bread. Slowly, as if unsure whether she was allowed to enjoy it. Later that night, she wandered the cabin while he slept lightly near the fire. She saw his old medals, photos, tools from a life she didn't know. She paused at a small photo, Yue, standing in front of a ruined building, holding a wounded child in one arm. He had been a protector once. Maybe he still was. Suddenly a flicker of light passed the window. Her eyes widened. She stepped closer. Staring out into the snowy dark, something had moved, not the wind. Something watching. She turned to Leo and whispered, "They're looking for me." Kylira didn't sleep that night. She stood near the window, motionless, watching the snow shift under the dark sky. The fire behind her cast a soft glow, but her body remained cold. Not from the weather, but from the memory. Leo stirred in. His chair, opening one eye, saw her frozen, alert, like prey sensing a predator. "What did you see?" he asked quietly. She didn't turn. Her voice came out flat. Light, motion, a scan drone. Leo was fully awake now. He stepped beside her and looked outside. There was nothing there now, just snow and shadow. But Kalira's voice shook. They're searching for me. Leo pulled on his jacket and stepped out the front door with a flashlight in hand. The storm had slowed, leaving a thick blanket of white across the frozen ground. He moved slowly, scanning the edges of the nearby woods. Then he saw it, half buried under snow round, metallic, pulsing faint blue. A tracker. Drone. Silent. Stealth grade. Not the kind anyone should own on this side of the galaxy, lest they were wealthy, cruel, and hunting someone who wasn't supposed to live. Leo picked it up, brought it inside, and dropped it on the table. Kalira stepped back the moment she saw it. That mark, she whispered.
Hausfelder?
Leo glanced at the side of the device. Small symbol 3 slashes around a black star. He had seen that before. War journals, classified reports. It was the sign of a noble family known for political purging and genetic cleansing. And now that symbol had found its way to his doorstep. Why would they send this after you? He asked. Kalira lowered herself to the floor and hugged her knees. Because I'm still alive. Leo sat beside her. But you said they left you for dead? Isn't that what they wanted? Her voice turned bitter. Oh, no. What they want is silence. I wasn't supposed to crawl away. I wasn't supposed to reach another species. If I tell anyone what they did, we'll shame them. A failed daughter from a ruling line. They would rather I be erased from history. Leo looked back at the drone. Then this was just the beginning. She nodded slowly. More will come, not machines. Hunters. He stood and locked every door, checked his blaster, secured the windows. He wasn't just dealing with some lost refugee. He was standing in the way of a galactic secret, and he knew what happened to people who stood in the way of such things. Still, he didn't regret it. Kalira watched him, her eyes wide. You could give me up. You'd be safe. Leo gave a small laugh. Safe is boring. Besides, you needed help. She looked away. I've never been helped before. Then get used to it, he said. Kalira moved toward the table, her eyes fixed on the drone. They won't just kill me. They'll make me disappear, like I never existed. Leo took the drone and smashed it open with a hammer. The core sparked, shorted out. The light inside faded. Then we make sure you do exist. Here with me. She stared at him like she couldn't believe. But she was hearing that someone would choose her, that someone would destroy something for her, in her world. She was a defect. In his cabin, she was alivened. She mattered, but deep in the snowy hills beyond, far from the cabin, a sleek alien vessel landed in silence. Black armor, no lights, no sound. It's just cold. Trained hunters stepping onto the frozen ground, tracking the last signal from the broken drone, and they weren't here too. Talk. Something buzzed against the window, not wind, not snow. It hovered, silent and watching. Leo froze. He glanced at Kalira, who had just stepped out of the washroom, still weak, but wrapped in a fresh blanket. Her eyes locked on the window. She felt, it too, another one, she whispered. Leo moved fast. He grabbed the short-range jammer from his drawer and flipped the switch. The humming outside stopped instantly. Followed by a soft thud, he pulled on his coat and stepped into the cold. Just under the cabin's eave, half covered in ice, was a second drone sleeker, smaller and far more advanced than the first. Its lens was cracked, its signal cut. Leo picked it up carefully and brought it inside. Kalira stared at the device like it was a venomous snake. This one's not just for tracking, she said. It records, sends images back to the hunter unit. Leo's jaw tightened. How close are they? If this got here, they're already in the sector, she replied, and they don't miss. He opened the casing of the drone on the workbench, fingers working fast. Years in the corps had made him good at disarming enemy tech. What he found inside made him pause. There's an auto-return beacon still running, he said. Kalira's eyes widened. That means they... No, you're here. She stepped back, heart pounding. Then I have to leave, she said quickly. If I run, maybe they'll stop chasing you. Leo stood. No, that's not how this works. If they find you outside, you die. If they find you here, I fight. Her voice broke. You'd fight them? For me? He nodded. You're not. Their property. Kalera's knees felt weak. She didn't understand this man. Where she came from, no one risked their life for a broken female. But Leo had risked everything already, and now he was preparing for more. She looked at his cabin, warm, safe, simple, and she wanted to protect it too. I can help, she said suddenly. Leo glanced at her. You can barely stand. My body is weak, she said, but I remember things, codes, training. I wasn't always useless. I can reroute signals. I can cloak energy signatures. Let me do something. He handed her the cracked drone. And help me make this look like a mistake. If they think it malfunctioned, we'll buy some time. For the next hour, they worked together. Kalera moved slower than Leo, her limbs still stiff from the frost, but her mind was sharp. She rewired the feedback loop to emit false data. The drone would show old terrain, images, misleading the hunter team, if only for a while, as they finished. Leo noticed something in her expression. She looked alive again, not afraid, not broken, but focused. Then the lights flickered. Kalera spun around. They've jammed the power grid. They're close. Leo rushed to the wall and opened a hidden compartment inside. An old pulse rifle and a manual override for the cabin's shield. Take cover, he said. Kalera didn't move. I'll stay by the console. I can loop our heat signature make. It looked like no one's inside. Deep hum filled the air. Outside, the snow glowed faint blue for a second, just before a shape passed by the window. Not flying, walking, tall, heavy. Silent. Leo checked the pulse rifle. Fully charged. He had seen this before. Elite hunters, silent assassins. Their armor absorbed sound. Their boots left no prints. Kalera leaned against the wall. Her voice was low, urgent. They'll scan the building. If they don't see bodies or heat, they might move on. Leo turned off the heaters. Darkness filled the room. Both of them hid behind the workbench. Barely breathing. Then a knock. Not a loud one. Just soft, polite, as if asking permission. Kalera's hands trembled. She whispered, That means they're testing us. They know someone's here. Leo gritted his teeth and raised the rifle. He didn't open the door. He aimed straight at it outside. The snow shifted again. Footsteps moved away, but they weren't retreating. They were circling. Leo narrowed his eyes. They want to trap us. Kalera stood slowly. Then we don't wait. We strike first. Leo turned to her. You're sure? She nodded. Her voice was calm now. If I'm going to die, I'll do it fighting. But I won't run again. Kalera stood near the fire, silent, tense, watching Leo clean the pulse rifle with calm, steady hands. Outside, snow drifted past the windows. Quiet and thick, but they both knew silence didn't mean safety. The hunters were still out there watching, waiting. Leo had barely slept in 2 days, and Kalera still limped from frostbite, but neither showed weakness now. Fear had burned away, replaced by something sharper purpose. She turned toward him, eyes glowing faintly in the firelight. I need to tell you something. Leo paused. All right, there's a law. Ancient. It comes from before our kind. Even reached the stars. He gave a small nod. Go on. If a member of my species is claimed by another, under oath another species, we can't be taken back by force. It's a sacred pact. Even the hunters have to obey it. Leo leaned forward, claimed. You mean like married? Kalera stepped closer. Not exactly. It's older than marriage. It means surrender, protection, union. It means I belong to you. His eyes met hers. She wasn't blushing. She wasn't seducing. She was surviving. I don't care about titles, Leo said, but if it keeps you alive, I'll say whatever words I need to. She took his hand, trembling. It must be done with will. You must say it without being forced, and I must accept it. He squeezed her fingers gently. Then let's do it right now. Kalera nodded slowly. They stood together, close. facing each other in the warmth of the fire. She spoke first, her voice clear, her eyes locked to his. By the rights of the old stars, I surrender myself. My name, my bond, my breath I give to you, human. You are now my protector, my keeper, my safe place. Leo replied, voice firm, I accept you. By my word, I will guard you. No one will take you. Not while I breathe. A sudden calm fell between them, like something ancient had been awakened. Kalira took a slow breath and stepped back. Her voice trembled now not from fear, but something heavier. It's done. If they break this law, even the high houses will face rebellion. The hunters know it. Then, without warning, the cabin shook. A blast hit the back wall. Dust and wood rained. Down. The lights flickered. A red alarm lit the far corner. They're not stopping, Leo said, grabbing the rifle. Even this law won't hold them. Kalira held up her hand. Wait, I can show them. One chance. She rushed to the small cum device Leo kept hidden, built for emergencies only, and linked her biometric ID to it. A holographic seal appeared above her head, bright silver. Shaped like a spiral moon, Leo watched as she stood in front of the cabin door. Straight, proud, glowing with that symbol of the ancient bond. They'll see this, she whispered, and if they destroy me now, their entire family line is cursed by law. A second blast hit, but the door didn't fall, then dashed silence. The scanner outside blinked once, twice. A soft beep echoed, and then the signal faded. The hunters were retreating. Leo lowered the rifle slowly. Did it work? Alira's legs gave out, and she collapsed to her knees, breathing hard. Yes, for now. Caught her before she hit the ground. Her body was weak, but her will was stronger than ever. You didn't have to do that, he whispered. She looked up at him. Yes, I did. I gave myself to you. Not because I had to, because I wanted to. You saw me as more than trash. Carried her to the cot and wrapped her in blankets again. But this time, she didn't look like a broken refugee. She looked like someone who belonged. Leo sat beside her, still gripping the rifle, still watching the windows, but now he wasn't just guarding his home, he was guarding his. They came just before dawn. No warning this time. No drones, no scanning lights, just the deep hum of anti-grav boots and the crunch of snow under metal heels. Leo stood at the window, already dressed in full combat, gear old worn, but still working. The pulse rifle rested against his chest. Kalira lay behind him, still recovering, but awake, watching him with quiet, steady eyes. They're breaking the law, she whispered. They don't care about the curse. Leo didn't look back. Then they'll learn to fear something worse than curses. He stepped outside. The cold hit him like a wall, but he didn't flinch. He scanned the tree line, his breath fogging in the air. 3 figures emerged from the woods. Tall, armored, silent. Hunter-class enforcers. He recognized the armor-reinforced bone steel, lined with kinetic dampeners. No insignias, no names. These weren't just guards. These were erasers. Sent to remove history, the lead hunter stepped forward and spoke in perfect Terran. Hand her over. Leo tightened his grip on the rifle. She's mine now. You know what that means? The hunter tilted his head. That law is dead, Leo smirked. Then come and try to kill me. The snow exploded beneath his boots as he fired first blue. Plasma lighting up the morning shadows. The lead hunter dodged fast, but not fast enough. The bolt hit his shoulder, spinning him to the ground. The other 2 charged. Leo rolled, not again, hitting one in the leg. The second leaped at him with a blade. Sharp and humming with energy, Leo blocked with his forearm shield and countered with a heavy punch to the throat, knocking the attacker back. But there were more no-sick shapes, maybe 7, closing in. From the woods, Kalira, inside the cabin, saw the shapes surrounding Leo. She made a choice. She stood, legs shaking, and dragged herself to the console. Her hands danced over the old control system, activating the emergency perimeter, a pulse wave that would overload any unshielded electronics within 50 meters. It would also burn out half the cabin. But Leo's life was outside. She pressed. The trigger. A blinding ring of light shot out from the ground blue. Fire sweeping through the trees. The hunters screamed as their cloaks shorted out, their armor locking up, their weapons frying in their hands. Leo ducked, shielding his face from the blast. When the light faded, 3 hunters were already on the ground. Twitching, Leo didn't waste time. He sprinted forward, using the smoke as cover, and took down the others one by one. No hesitation. No mercy. These weren't soldiers. They were executioners. He finished the last one with a strike to the head, knocking the helmet clean off. Silence, only snow and broken armor remained. Leo stood in the middle of the clearing, his chest rising and falling hard. Kalira appeared at the cabin door, leaning against the frame. Her cheeks were pale, her knees shaking, but her eyes were bright with something new. Pride. "You fought like one of us," she said softly. Leo looked at her. "No, I fought like me." She stepped down carefully and walked toward him. "You didn't run, you didn't either." They met in the snow, standing over the defeated hunters. Kalira touched his arm gently. "If word spreads that a human stood against House Velthor and lived, the galaxy will change." Leo looked at the trees, the sky, the silence around them. "Let it," she smiled weakly. "They sent killers, and they lost." He nodded, because they underestimated. "Something important?" "What?" He turned to her and said, "What happens when you give a man a reason to fight?" For the first time in weeks, the wind outside was calm. No drones, no shadows in the trees, no footsteps in the snow, just quiet, soft. Peaceful quiet. Inside the cabin, Kalira stood by the window, a warm drink cupped gently in her hands. She was no longer wrapped in layers like a frightened refugee. Instead, she wore simple human clothes, soft fabric, warm socks, and a gentle smile that hadn't touched her face in years. She was healing. Not just her body, but her heart. She watched Leo fix the broken power relay near the fireplace. His movements were slow, careful, but relaxed.
Ow.
No armor. No weapon in hand. He had finally lowered his guard. So had she. Single quotes. Lyra turned from the window and stepped closer. "Do you think they'll come again?" she asked softly. Leo looked up and shook his head. "Not after what we did. They'll bury the failure. Act like it never happened." She nodded. "That's what they're good at, erasing the truth." "But we're still here," he said. Her fingers touched her chest where the old oath still pulsed beneath her skin, a symbol of the bond they shared. It wasn't just for protection anymore. It had become something deeper, something she hadn't expected when she first collapsed in his arms. A reason to live. She sat beside him, close, her shoulder brushing his. "You never asked what I wanted after all this? I figured you'd tell me when you were ready." "I'm ready now." He looked into her eyes. "What do you want, Kalira?" She took a slow breath. "I want to stay. I want to grow something that isn't fear. I want to wake up and know I belong, to know I accept someone who chose me. Not because I'm useful, not because of duty, but because I matter." Leo didn't speak right away. He just reached out and held her hand. "You already matter," he said. Her voice caught in her throat. No one had ever said that to her. Outside, the snow had started to melt slightly under the morning sun. The frost that had once covered everything now dripped quietly from the trees. Kalira stepped out onto the porch, barefoot, feeling the cold wood under her feet but not shivering. She looked around the valley. Once her prison, now it was her home. From the edge of the forest, a small animal emerged, a four-legged creature native to the planet. It sniffed the air and approached her cautiously. Kalira knelt down and reached out. The animal pressed its head into her hand. Leo watched. From behind the door, making new friends already, she smiled. "I think it knows I don't bite." He stepped outside with her, and they stood there together. Watching the sun rise higher over the trees, there were no royal banners here, no laws to obey, no bloodline to protect, just a cabin, fire, and a choice they had both made to stand by each other. Kalira turned to him, her voice gentle. When I first came here, I begged you to take me in. Promised you I'd be yours forever. Leo smiled softly, and now she leaned against him. I still want to be yours, but not because I'm scared, because I'm free, he rapped. An arm around her and pulled her close. The past had tried to destroy her, but the present had given her something rare: peace, safety, and a place to belong. She wasn't trash anymore. She was home.